Hey, I'm Angela Walters from Quilting is My Therapy, and I want you to buckle up because I'm taking you on the road with me as I head to a trunk show. In this video, you'll come along with me as I head over to Salina, Kansas to give a trunk show and a lecture, and you'll even get to see a quilt with moose and boobs. I'm not joking. So, let's get to it. One of my absolute favorite things, besides actually quilting, is talking about quilting, and I love to go give trunk shows and lectures at guilds. Basically, a trunk show is where I take all my quilts and show them to a group. I talk a little bit about how I became a quilter, and then I talk about a certain subject that they want to hear about. It could be how to keep up on your laundry or how to keep your house perfectly spotless. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I can't even say that without joking. We know that I'm not talking about any of that. No, my topics tend to veer more towards the machine quilting stuff. So I'm going to pack these up and I'm going to get on the road. Let's go. Let's see, over the last few weeks, I've been a lot of great places. Festival for the Midnight Quilt Show. I just got back from San Diego, been home for about a week, but I'm on the road again, but this time I'm not flying, I get to drive, which makes me so happy. So here I'm all geared up for my road trip. I've got my quilt in the front seat. I just felt like there needed to be somebody to talk to. So I'm heading to Salina, Kansas, which is just a 3-hour drive, and I'm just really glad not to have to go through TSA. I'm gonna get going. It may be a long drive, but I really don't mind. I pass the time listening to an audiobook called Real Artists Don't Starve. It's really good. And when my brain needs a break, I'll just do a little, singing. Okay, so I may look weird to other drivers, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that loves to belt out tunes. Of course, I'll need a little break for lunch. Just had some lunch, some Qdoba, but now my breath smells like onions, so I'm gonna have to take care of that. I made it to Salina. Nice, smooth, uneventful drive, my favorite kind. I'm heading over to the Silver Needles Quilt Guild. All I have to do now is find where the meeting is at.
Your destination is on the left.
I made it, but here comes the fun part, the setup. It may not look like it, but these suitcases are heavy. There's a ton of quilts and product in here. But if there's one thing I can do fast, it's set up my table. It's almost like I've done it a time or two, or 100. Once everything is set up, it's time to kick back and grab a meal with some of the guild members. It's a time to hang out and, most importantly, eat. I do love to eat. Dinner was yummy, but now it's time to head to the guild meeting so I can do my trunk show. Even though every month I'm in a different quilt guild, they all pretty much follow the same routine. There's a business meeting. That's stuff that's particular to the guild itself. But then there's always my favorite part, show and tell. Show and tell is great because people bring whatever they finished since the last meeting and show it off to their fellow quilters. And what I love about it is everybody is always so encouraging and so complimentary. I don't think I've ever been to a bad show and tell, but their show and tell was pretty amazing. Let me show you just some of the quilts that I got to see.
So this is in one of the magazines.
There were a few quilts I will never forget, especially this quilt.
If I can tell the story about this one, but it's very personal. Seriously.
Am I right? I'm sure you haven't seen a quilt like that either. The next batch of quilts were inspiring in a completely different way.
These are the students from Central High School.
Andra, a guild member, has been volunteering at a local high school for 10 years. She teaches students how to quilt from start to finish, and every year they bring their quilts to the guild to show them off. So incredible.
And I'm going to be on the long arm for the first time this year.
Several years ago, Handy Quilter donated a long arm to their class so students can machine quilt their quilts. How awesome is that? Then, after the show and tell, it's usually time for me to go. A fellow quilter was so nice to hold my camera for me and record some of the trunk show. I try to keep it entertaining, a little inspiring, definitely some information in there, but my whole goal is to make sure nobody falls asleep while I'm talking.
And I think, man, I really want to quilt this design. I'm going to figure it out one way or the other. Yeah, I brought a lot of quilts. I was getting ready to leave and I'm just chucking them all in the trunk. And so this is the Blooming Medallion quilt, which was also another episode of the Midnight Quilt Show. And due to the magic of editing, I made that quilt in about 15 minutes. I mean, I don't know how long it takes you all to make a quilt. When people take classes with me and they say, what should I put in that fabric? I'm like, whatever you want. You're not going to see it anyway. But you can watch the Midnight Quilt Show, make it for yourself. All right, so these are just some more examples of using the quilting to enhance a particular area of the quilt. If I highlighted every little piece in it, maybe it wouldn't blend together as much, right? See, right there, we're on the same wavelength. I've quilted swirls, and then it goes to leaves, and then to flowers, and to all different designs. Here's the thing, go ahead and switch between a bunch of different designs. What happens if you start quilting and you don't like how it's looking? Switch to a different design. Or what happens if you like how it's looking but you're bored? Switch to another design. Now this particular quilt is the most important of the night. This quilt was actually quilted by my daughter Chloe, so my middle child. So we wrote a kids quilting book together called Get Quilting with Angela and Chloe, and so she quilted this runner on my long arm when she's about 8 years old. So you made your quilt tops for a purpose, and if I had to guess, it probably wasn't to make yourself feel bad as a machine quilter. One of these days I'm going to put together an infomercial. And it's going to show a quilt top nicely folded, beautiful, and it's going to pan back, and you're going to see stacks of quilt tops. And Sarah McLachlan music will play in the background, you know, on the arms of an angel. And Morgan Freeman will say it, because, you know, it's my dream, so Morgan Freeman's going to narrate it, and he's going to say, every year, hundreds of quilts are left unfinished. I just want a chance to be a quilt. I'm just kidding, but seriously, if you like making quilt tops, perfect. But if you want your quilts to serve their purpose, they need to be finished. And a finished quilt is always, always better than a perfect quilt top. Any questions?
After the trunk show's over, all that's left to do is talk to people, pack up, and head home. And then the room was empty.
And then the room was gone.
And then it was over. And since I drove here, I'm driving back, so I'm going to get packed up and get on the road. All this is going to go in there. And then it's time to head home.
It's been fun to have you in Salina, Kansas.
Oh my gosh, it's been great.
Goodbye, Angela
Salina.
Walters. Thank you for coming.
All in all, I loved it. It was so fun. It's always nice when I can go to another state, give a lecture, and then be home in my own bed that night. And there it is, the lights of Kansas City. That means I'm only 20 minutes from home. It's late and I'm tired, so I'm gonna get home, but I'll see you soon in another video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on it. Thanks so much and happy quilting!